Hi. So, as most of you have probably heard by now, I have a webinar coming up on Sunday. And I was talking to someone today that asked me, they said, so what? You're just going to tell us your 3-bet ranges? No. What I'm going to do is reveal to you guys my complete 3-betting system that I've been using for years now and I have honed and perfected. And the basic idea with how I go about 3-betting is I divide my opponents up into 3 categories. I call them sticky players that don't like to fold to your 3-bets, or perhaps they're not folding post flop. I have balanced players, which are the best players you face. And then I have the opposite of sticky, which is what I call weak players or scared players. So I use these buckets, and they're buckets that apply to pre-flop and buckets that apply to post-flop. And then I use very specific ranges, and I break my ranges into 4 categories. I have my strong value, I have thin value, I have strong bluffs, and I have weak bluffs. And then the last piece to my 3-betting system is that I have specific HUD stats that I use to place those characters, those players into categories. They could be characters as well. And I use a set of rules. So I put all of these things together in what I think is a pretty simple, straightforward way that lets you make very quick decisions at the table. I'll tell you how you shouldn't be 3-betting, and that is, this is what I see with a lot of my clients, is every time a hand comes up, you might stare at it for a few seconds and say to yourself, well, should I 3-bet? And you look at the guy that opened and you think about it and you're like, well, he does kind of seem like he calls a lot. And then, eventually you come to a decision. But you waste all of that time over and over and over again when you're trying to make those decisions whether or not to 3-bet. When instead, if you put together a solid system, like the kind of thing I'm talking about, then you can memorize these things really easily, right? You can work with charts and you work with rules, and you get it down to the point that it's almost like a programming language, right? Where you are simply following if-then statements. If the hand does not fall in any of those 4 tiers, then you fold it and move on. You don't sit there, chewing on over and over again whether you should 3-bet. And if given the players in the sticky category, you are, for example, leaning more towards your value range. So if you have a hand that falls into your value tiers, then you 3-bet. Otherwise, you fold, or in some cases call if it falls in your calling range. So this is the basic idea with the system. I'm going to go into great detail about how all of this works in my webinar on Sunday. So it is not just me going, showing everybody my ranges. It's me working through it in as straightforward a process as possible, how it works so that you guys can benefit from it as well.